Corporate Finance Excel Practice Problem. In this presentation, we're going to work a practice problem in Excel related to expectations hypothesis theory for expected return on securities. Get ready, it's time to take your chance with corporate finance. Here we are in Excel. We have the information on the left-hand side. We're going to put that into the blue area into our worksheet on the right-hand side. So what we have is find expected return for securities with maturities of 2, 3, and 4 years. So we're going to say that we're stacking up our maturities. This is something that we may do with things like bonds, or we might do it if we have some kind of savings type of activity where we might have an overlap of when the expected starting points would be, and then kind of stagger the ending points as to when the bonds will be maturing. And that's one way that we can have an investment strategy in this way. Well, if that's the case, then we want to consider what our expected return will be. So, for example, if we had one bond that was purchased on the first year and we have the 7% return, then obviously for year one it would be 7%. If we purchased another bond and we're going to be purchasing another one each year, and then the second bond we purchase at the beginning of year two, so now we got the year one bond and the year two bond at different percents. So, and that's going to be part of our strategy that's going to kind of diversify. So now we've got two bonds out there that have the different percents due to them being picked up at different time periods. We can figure out what our expected return would be. Then in year three, we pick up another bond, which happens to have a 10% return. So now, once again, we have to think about the average because now we've got basically 1, 2, and 3 out there at that point in time. And then in year four, we pick up another bond. So we have these staggered bonds, and you would expect them to then expire. If they were all like 10-year bonds, they would stagger on the expiration point as well. So now we can think about, okay, what's our expected return now that we have this staggering method, which could be useful for diversification of our bond, portfolio. So we're going to say, obviously in year one, it's just simply going to be the 7%. Then let's think about year two. So year two expected return, colon, and then I'm going to be picking up the year one bond, and that was at the 7%. Making that, let's percentify this, home tab, numbers, percentifying it. And then we're going to say year two bond, the one we picked up in the second year, that we're going to have for the entire year now at that 9%. Then we're going to go home tab, numbers, percentify that. If we give us the subtotal, I'm just going to say subtotal is then going to be equal to the sum of the 7 and the 9. And let's put an underline under the 9. Home tab, font group, underline. Let's percentify the subtotal. Home tab, numbers, percentify it. And then we're going to take the average by then dividing by 2 items involved. And that's going to give us then the year 2 expected return. We'll put this in the outer column. This is going to then be the 16 divided by the 2. Let's percentify that. Go into the home tab, numbers, percentifying it. And then we can add some decimals. And so we have 8 exactly, or at least 2 decimals out. And then we're going to put an underline here. Note there will be rounding involved oftentimes with these kind of calculations. Home tab, font group, and underline here. Let's go ahead and format this a bit. Let's select these cells. Let's go to the home tab, alignment, increase the indenting, and then do that one more time here. Home tab, alignment, increase the indenting. Then we're going to be doing the same for the next one. Let's skip a line and say, what about year 3? Year 3 expected return. So same kind of thing you would think, right? The average that we're going to be taking here. I'm going to say this will be equal to year 1. And then I'll pick up the percent for year 1. We'll percentify it. Home tab, numbers group, percentify it. Then year 2, the one we pick up, the bond we're picking up in year 2, the 9%, percentifying it. Home tab, numbers, percentify it. And then we're picking up year 3. And the rate now for that new one is going to be the 10%. So we're going to say home tab, numbers, and percentify. Let's underline it. Home tab, font group, and underline. And that's going to give us our subtotal. I'm going to say subtotal is going to be equal to the sum, trusty sum formula for the 7 plus the 9 plus the 10%. Percentifying this cell, then home tab, numbers, percentifying gives us the 26. Then we will, of course, divide by 3. Now, taking the average, notice that we have one of bond each. So we're taking, you know, if we one bond of each, so we could take basically the average dividing this out. So this is going to be the what is it? Year 3 expected return. And we're going to put this in the outer column. That's going to be the 26% divided by 3. Then we will percentify that number by going to the Home tab, Numbers group, and percentify. Let's add a few decimals, making it a bit more exact. We're now at the 8.67. Year 4, obviously same kind of process, same kind of procedure. But before we do that, let's go ahead and select these 4 cells and format them. Home tab, alignment, increase the indenting, subtotal. Home tab, alignment, increase the indenting. Okay, that's better. Oh, let's do this one. Home tab, alignment, increase the indenting. And this one shouldn't be double indented. Home tab, alignment, decrease the indenting. All right. Okay, now I feel okay to move forward here. So now we're going to say this is going to be the year 4 expected return, colon. And now, once again, we'll basically take our average. We had those ones in year 1, which were at the 7%. I'm going to percentify them all at one time this time. And this time, let's do some copying and pasting. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna percentify it first. This will be the easiest way, or an easier way at least. Home tab, numbers, percentifying it. I'm not sure it's the easiest way because I haven't really thought about it that deeply, but it's easier, it's fast. Okay, so then I'm going to select these 2 cells, and then we're going to autofill them down to 4, 1, 2, 3. 3 more, 4 total. And that'll take us down to the 9%, so you can see that they're pulling over the same numbers. We already have the percentification because it's copied the same formatting. Let's put an underline here now. Going to the Home tab, the font group, and underline. Notice I think I'm going to need another blue cell here. So what I'm going to do, and you should already have this, but I'm going to bluify the next cell. So I'm going to highlight these 3, Home tab, Clipboard, Format Painter, and then just click the one below it. So now it's been bluified and borderized. And then we're going to sum these up with the trusty sum. This is going to be the subtotal. Trusty sum formula equals SUM, trusty sum. It's going to take the 7% on down to the 9. And then we'll percentify that one. Home tab, Numbers group, percentify it. And then we're going to divide it by 4. And once again, I think we're still short so I'm going to make another blue one here. So highlighting these 4, Home tab, Clipboard, Format Painter, bluifying the next one. And then finally, we have the year 4 expected return in the outer column equals the 35% divided by 4. Let's percentify that one. Home tab, Numbers group, percentify it. Let's go ahead and select these cells and indent them. Home tab, alignment, indent, and then this cell, or no, this cell. Let's do it right this time. Let's get it right this time. Then Home tab, alignment, and indent, indent. And so there we have that. Let's put a couple decimals on this one too by going to the Home tab, Numbers group, and then a few more decimals. And so there one way we can kind of think about our expected return with this kind of staggering process, which is a common process if we got some kind of fixed return type of thing, such as a fixed investment in, say, bonds that we want to stagger and give us some more diversification, or something like some other kind of CDs or some kind of investment like that, savings kind of accounts with fixed rates. That could be a useful way to consider the returns.